Appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to item number 4, citizens to be heard. It's construction. Okay, and we'll do that. Got it. I'll still ask, see if we have. Okay, citizens to be heard. This is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the City Council on any issue or any item of the agenda in compliance with LGC Section 551.007. City Council may not discuss any presented issue, nor may any action be taken on any issue at this time. Citizens to be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General Opinion JC-0169. We didn't see anybody signed up on here, but I just wanted to go ahead and ask. See if we have any citizens to be heard. Going once. Going twice. Okay, 3 times. Just a reminder, just because I want to make sure it's officially out there, the public hearing for the actual Rowan project is supposed to be this Wednesday, the 26th, just as it's identified in the Devine newspaper as part of the official notification. So just want to make sure, folks, in case some of you are listening in, that's a time if you want to join us for that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to item number 5. This is consent agenda. Consider approval of the minutes, and we're looking at March 12, 2025.
Mayor, I'd like to start by making a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented for March 12, 2025.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, got a second. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much, Council. And Paola, just to backtrack on item number 4 with the citizens to be heard, no comments, please. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, Council, let's go ahead and move on to the consent agenda B, and this is consider the approval of the payment of the bills.
Mayor, I'd like to start by making a motion to approve the payment of bills as presented.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that too.
Got a second. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All yeas. Thank you so much, Council. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and move on into item number 6. This is a public hearing. Conduct a public hearing concerning a preliminary and final plat, Alderete Gutierrez subdivision being 0.49 acres, establishing lots 40 and 41 being a portion of block 40, lot 14, Lytle San Antonio irrigated farms subdivision as shown in plat recorded on sheet 28B, new plat cabinet, Atascosa County, Texas, and all lots 25, 26, and 27 of the SG Cross subdivision as shown on the plat recorded on sheet 54A1, new plat cabinet in the city of Lytle, Atascosa County, Texas. This is a public hearing, so we're going to go ahead and open it up. It is 6:34. Paula, if you can go ahead and do that. And I will go ahead and ask. I didn't have anybody sign up for that, so.
I don't know if you want to hear from Rakowitz.
Oh, do you want to do it now?
Yeah,
Okay. Okie dokie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Okay.
My name's Corey Taylor from Rakowitz Engineering. We're the ones that worked on this replat. So essentially, we're taking 4 existing lots and turning it into 2 new lots. The issue was the 2 homeowners, their lots don't align with where their houses are at, and we also had to go through a variance process last week with the Planning and Zoning Committee, which both those variances got approved. One variance was for street frontage, and the other variance was for setback limits, which both of those were approved. The setback limits are just for the existing buildings. So if the current owners or any future owners needed to do a new building, they would be under the current setback limits for the city. So essentially this replat's just cleaning up some old lot lines and making it workable for the situation that's going on over there on Newton Drive.
What was the issue with the street frontage?
This is a public hearing.
Oh, I'm
It's a
sorry.
public hearing, so we will go into the item for discussion in a little bit, so if we have some questions.
So I think it's, I don't have the direct numbers in front of me, but it's R1 zoning, so minimum frontage, is typically 60 feet, and I believe it was one of the lots was fronting around 48 feet, and the other was pushing 60 feet. But it was still in alignment with a lot of other existing lots in that area of Lytle. So,
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to pass on?
no, sir, that's all.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. Okay, I'll go ahead and open it up. Is there anybody else for public comments for the public hearing? Okay, going once, going twice. Okay. Paula, if you can go ahead and show, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:36. Okay, 6:36. All right, let's go ahead and move on, council, to item number 7. This is the open session. Take action on the items discussed, and we'll jump right into A, consideration and possible action concerning a preliminary and final plat, Alderete Gutierrez subdivision being 0.49 acres, establishing lots 40 and 41 being a portion of block 40, lot 14, Lytle San Antonio Irrigated Farm subdivision as shown on the plat recorded on sheet 28B, new plat cabinet, Atascosa County, Texas, and all the lots 25, 26, and 27 of SG Cross subdivision as shown on the plat recorded on sheet 54-A1, new plat cabinet in City of Lytle, Atascosa County, Texas. Zach.
Mayor and council, obviously, as you just heard under the public hearing, so they are looking to combine the 4 lots into 2 separate lots. There was some weird lot line original who owned what. P&Z did recommend unanimous approval with the 2 variances under consideration, which were explained by the gentleman from Rackwitz Engineering. One was the setbacks, so the homes don't meet the current setbacks, and obviously they're looking to keep the structures there, and so if they don't even meet the current setbacks under the new scenario, they also would not meet, but any structure going forward would have to comply with our setback requirements. And then the second one was that we do have a 60-foot frontage requirement on right-of-way. And the lot to the south, the proposed lot 41, only has about 43 feet of frontage. And it's just some weird lots, over there. They're kind of a weird configuration. Even into the existing ones, they're kind of weird. So you're kind of left with that weird one. We did want to provide, and you saw it in the public hearing portion of your packet. We asked them to provide a utility kind of map showing that the existing water meters and any other utilities are specifically on each individual lot, so that there's no issue with cross, between the 2 lots. Each would have to have driveways off of Newton on their own individual lot. Right now there is a shared driveway kind of in the middle of the proposed, where the new lot line is proposed, but obviously that would have to be adjusted accordingly. So they would have to access each individual lot off of Newton. There is short drive there to the south, but short drive has never been built out. So, at some point if that got improved, then lot 41 would have an additional way to access their home, but at this time it's not an improved right of way. So obviously any questions that you
What's the name of that street, Short?
Short Street? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of weird on the utility map. It shows it kind of going through the lots.
Yeah.
That's not actually the case. I don't know why Google has it that way.
And is that an easement between the houses?
Yeah, so that is the kind of portion in between. You're talking about where the new property line?
So where you see the property line of 41 and then the home to the bottom of it, right of it, which would I guess would be probably to the east of it. Where you see where the first says Short right off of Newton Drive?
Yes.
That word right there, is that an easement? Or is
Lynette,
that actually the person's
can you bring it up?
property?
Just a map.
I think I turned it on earlier.
that turn. So I'm referencing page 17 of our packet.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to really understand how the entrances are going to be and where the lines are. And if we can also, from the engineering standpoint, we need to make sure that things are in the deed, they're highlighted, anything that we do on this, because unfortunately we've dealt with situations like this in the past and nothing's written down, and then they sell, another buyer, and next thing you know, there's questions being asked with the city
17.
about how we're going to go ahead and be able to take care of that. So,
So if you
Michael,
look
I'll
at
let
that-
you go ahead and do first.
Yeah, so if you, what the portion I'm speaking of is this property line right here on 41,
Yes.
and then you have a home right here.
Yeah.
See, this black line didn't come out. So is this an easement?
Yeah, so that's Short Street that's not actually built, but it is right of way that.
So their property is right on the border?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
In addition to that back property,
Yeah.
I guess that belongs to the cemetery?
Yes.
And then this zigzag would be the portion that got,
And it'd be must be
the boundary line, right?
Yes.
So there's not much space here.
That's the 43 feet off of the right of way. That would be where the
So from here to
variance-
here is 43?
Correct.
Yeah, see, that's not much to put a driveway in there as well. Yeah, that was my concern, is that there is no area for a driveway. I mean, it goes straight into the front of their property.
If I could
If they're
add,
to do an entrance.
compared to how the lots are currently set up, she only has access on her house directly to Short Street.
Right.
And so this is actually improving the current situation.
Yeah, if you look at the proposed plat, what he's referencing is that it's kind of small, but on that exhibit where Mr. Alderete owns the middle lot, and she owns those first two, the first lot and then that lot in behind, and he owns the other lot back there. So it's kind of a weird configuration of how the ownership happened over there. And so like he's saying that, she technically can only access via Short Street, even though they have that existing shared drive that would go away as a part of
And
this.
it's not an improved road.
It is not.
And the expectation cannot be that the city's going to improve that road.
That's correct.
I want to make that clear.
That's correct.
Yeah, so we need to make sure that that's recorded. That's in some ways that's all placed in there. So we want to help out. We want to make sure that we help out, be able to do that. And it's not only for the purpose of that, but then the other thing is I worry about our public works folks. They need to get in to be able to see, to take meters, to go ahead and do those two things right there. This is both with the gas and the water meter. So the access to be able to get into that. Okay, so we ran into this before, and we just need to make sure that it's very documented, so 50 years from now, if for some reason something happens, it's already known of where the access is going to be and what access needs to be available in order for us to do that. Because if not, then this needs to be moved out here. It needs to be right next to it. That's how we ask everybody, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So
Should be at the right of way.
our meters should be right here, so our folks don't need to be able to go over there. But we don't want to incur any more costs for our residents, but it has to be recorded of how we're going to be dealing with this for years to come. Same thing with this one too. We got this one covered, but we got this one over here. And it's way inside the property, just because of the way this was laid out. So we need to make sure that this is annotated, whether we either move this over here, or we actually annotate it somewhere where we're not going to have to deal with that in the future. So I just want to make sure that we want to help out the residents. We want to make it, not make it too complicated, but once again, we're looking in the future, so whatever we agree upon in here, if we're going to go ahead and provide the variances and everything, we also needed to put it as a matter of record in there, how that property is going to have the access and how it's going to be maintained, and the north one of how we're going to have access to that too, because the utilities are not right next to the road.
So if the variance were approved, can the city not make a requirement that those meters be moved?
I mean, we can move them. I don't think there's an issue of moving them. It's at
And it's on our dime to
It's on
move
it. Well, at this point, I mean,
if it's on our dime, that's fine, because
Yeah.
we're talking about the safety of our employees.
So we've done that before, where we've moved them, and we're happy to do so. But yeah, if we're to the mayor's point, it depends on, or if there is an expectation for them to move it, we can have that expectation, but it's really up to y'all. If you direct me to say, hey, we need to move those, then we'll move them at our expense.
The tough part is we might be able to help out with the water, but we can't help out with the gas
The gas
meter.
won't change,
And
yeah.
and they're going to have to go ahead and pay with that, unless they decide that they don't want gas and they just go ahead and terminate.
Yeah. And the only gas one would be on that 41,
Yeah,
because
but-
the other one's at the...
But either way, right now, if they're agreeing and they have everything, all I'm asking is for us to make it's got to be written. It's got to be written it's got to be shown how people are going to get into each lot, where things are going to be available, because once again, all of us are going to be gone, just like it's happened before. We end up going into somebody's property and trying to figure out how we're going to give them access or try to take care of them because it was never recorded, even though before it was agreed upon. So we need to make sure that we have that, especially with the bottom one. We need to make sure it's understood that it's not going to ever get paved.
Right.
Okay, it's never going to be paved, and this is where the entrance is going to be. It has to be recorded somehow.
So do we need to table this and ask them to come back with some final drawings of where the driveway is going to be and the owner's decision on what they want to do with their lines?
Unless you have the information to be able to present.
I don't have anything different to present. It appears that Short Street unbuilt is being used, and it's open configuration for that resident to access in addition to that current shared driveway. But in regards to the meters, I don't see how that is any different from the current situation. If anything, this, like I said, this is still a much larger improvement to its current configuration, because if you're looking at individual lots, there is no access unless you cross two lots to get to Ms. Gutierrez's house in the current configuration. So, I mean, geometrically, there's only so much room you can deal with on the frontage. I'm not sure what changes could be done to this current layout to appease.
Who owns Short Street? Who owns the property where Short Street
Short
is?
Street would be ours, but it's
Is city property?
unimproved.
City right away?
City loan.
All right, so she can drive in there if she wants and put her access halfway along that, southern border there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I would like to see, and I think this is what the gentleman over here are getting at, I'd like to see this drawing again with some dotted lines where she's planning on putting her driveway, whether it's just, sand track or gravel or whatever, up near her house to do what the mayor is asking, that we don't have any questions in the future about this.
Yeah, we just recently had a property where we had mandated a dedicated 20 feet, I believe, for the driveway.
It was a flag lot, yeah.
Yeah.
And also note what the mayor's saying about Short Street, what Michael said about Short Street, that we don't plan on doing anything with it. I'd like to see that in there something before we approve anything.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, that zagged line that separated the two properties, the 43 feet in front of the 41 acres, or 41,
Lot 41.
lot 41, the purpose of that zagging like that was to take over the entrance and that would become part of 40.
That was part of the reason, yes, sir. The other reason behind that is if we adjusted that lot line much further north, we would, the setbacks would start getting pretty tight for how his current property is laid out.
I was just saying, because if they increase that 43 and instead of going at a zag, they would do more of a straight line, they would share that interest, and then it would be like half the cost to do the improvements, required improvements, that are going to be set by the city. But-
We don't want to add any more costs to what they're trying to do. We get that, okay? What we're asking for, I think, council, what we're asking for is we just want it to be documented. Somehow where it's permanent in the deed, in a drawing, combination between the two. So once again, years from now, if these properties are sold and somebody's coming back to the city, it's a matter of record of what the council actually agreed upon. Because if not, we end up, it comes back. And we've seen it happen already. So that's the reason why we asked for us to make a determination. If they're gonna have the driveway, and guess what? Our folks, there's not gonna be any fencing in there put in or anything like that, the driveway, and our folks are gonna have access, and WTG is gonna have access to the gas meter, why do we need to move it? We get it, okay? But we need to know that that's gonna be how it's gonna be, and it's documented somewhere. So we don't run into future issues. And we put another council in an awkward position of looking at somebody's property because we didn't put it in the documents.
So if they were to make their official drive, does the property have to have a driveway?
He has to be able to, they have to go
They just have to
into,
access their property.
they have to access their property. Honestly, I thought they were gonna access their property straight out of Newton.
I think currently she's using Short Street, again, unimproved, but she's probably using that, which, most people would. But it would be, that her actual right-of-way access would be off of Newton because it's an improved right-of-way. The other one being unimproved, we can't say that she would be using that. So it would just have to be off of that 43 feet off of Newton, and then the other driveway for lot 41 would have to be, or other access would be off of Newton as well from that, portion that they have.
And like I quoted or I stated before about the 20 feet on the previous properties, if they were to incorporate that into this drawing, that should satisfy the driveway requirement.
Yeah. There's nothing that says, I do not believe we have a requirement that says you have to have like a paved driveway.
Right, no.
In our zoning
No.
But would you have to have an
You
interest?
just have to have a minimum of, we require this, a minimum of 60 feet on the right of way, and that's typical, and obviously they have to have access to it. We can't approve a lot that doesn't have access to right of way.
Is that street, the short street that goes around, is that an actual?
So Short Street is an actual right. Now what you see up there, how Google has it is not correct.
Okay,
It
I
does
just
that
wanna make
thing with
sure,
The lot.
'cause-
The only Short Street is the portion to the south of that lot. That's
Yeah.
the only portion of Short Street, and it is ours. It's unimproved city right of way.
Yeah.
So it just never, because it dead ends into the cemetery, so they just never built out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we just want to make sure, once again, in the sense of the access point into that property of being
Yeah.
able to, because if not, I'll say, hey, we're dealing with easements that are not indicated on the
no,
plat.
it's definitely
So,
right of way. That's
Yeah. So,
What was the,
Austin, is there anything that,
So, if I'm understanding correctly, you're looking at doing a driveway, east-west on lot 31 on the new, right?
if she's not going to come in this way, as long as it's indicated of how that's going to be.
You're looking at doing a driveway here and a driveway here?
correct.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of built in with the frontage issue. I mean, driveways can only be of a certain width. So it would make sense that if y'all are gonna approve a variance, that you specify like where that's gonna be located within the 43 feet, because it's not the usual 60 feet. As far as whether a driveway is required, I would have to check that. and
No,
pull it up and
we don't
see.
No,
require.
we don't. But it's just being able to have an access. And once again, it's not only for future, so we know how it was laid out and how it was intended, but also in a sense because our folks need to be able to get?
The biggest thing, Austin, is you see where they, right here. Currently, this driveway exists here and comes over here and goes over here. And it's obviously the way the configuration is, it's over multiple lot lines right now and that kind of stuff. It's a shared driveway, and it works for them right now. I doubt they have any agreement like in writing, but it works now. But the problem is when they sell or anybody at future sells.
You know, I agree you want two different,
Yes.
you want the lots to be separate and
Yeah.
self-sufficient.
The top lot is a lot easier.
Oh, 100%.
It's a lot easier for
I mean,
them.
technically, I think the driveway as it exists today is all on the lot 41 or 40. So technically, they have their driveway.
When was the P&Z meeting?
Last
A week ago.
last Monday.
So the only thing I can think of is that y'all do under the shot clock rules under 212, where you have 30 days from the day you receive, the day P&Z takes action, basically, you have 30 days to take action yourself as city council. You'll have another meeting, correct? Within the 30 days, you'll have one on
The 14th would be a regular meeting.
and that's going to be,
How many
what day you
days?
said P&Z was?
Last Monday.
Last Monday? So yeah, you'll be with, that would be 28 days, so you'll be within your shot clock. If y'all aren't able to get the kind of drawings revised they've done, you can do 130-day extension if you wait. It has to be requested by the applicant. If you need more time than that, but if you all wanted to table this, on this issue, you could, and then it'll come back to you on the 14th, and that'll give them time to insert those drawings. And the way it's going to work, just so y'all understand, and the council understands, because you're granting, when you approve the plat, if it checks all the boxes, you have to approve it, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, like in this case, on the street frontage issue, it requires a variance, you can approve the variance through this plotting process, and in doing so, you can put conditions on it. So you can say, yeah, we'll approve a variance of 43 feet, but we want to make sure the driveway is centered on, that, and not, driveway and then 30 feet of frontage. So however it works here, so that's fine. And then that would be reflected on the drawings. That's doable for you.
I think I'm following, so need some more clarification.
Well, that way if
on
somebody
what
is-
the council's looking for, honestly.
Yeah, well, if somebody comes along later and says, we're gonna demolish the property, we're building a new house, and we're gonna put the driveway, all the way to one side, all the way to the south end of that would not be within the variance that's granted for this. So the variance is gonna be tied to wherever y'all decide to put the driveways right now. If somebody comes along later and wants to move them, they're gonna need their own variance. That way council's getting approval over what this is gonna look like.
I guess where I'm not following is where the driveway requirement is specified in the ordinance.
Or the access point, basically.
Because the access is still the 43 feet on Newton right away. Other than specifying where we would propose our driveway to be at, I don't see
That would be all it would
what's
be.
changing on the plat itself.
That would be all it would be at this point. It wouldn't be a requirement to build a driveway. It would just be, if you do, where is it allowed to go?
The access.
So are y'all looking for just an exhibit showing this driveway location?
I think so.
'Cause
Yeah, I think that's what we want, yeah.
something
the
that
ex-
got brought up in the city engineer review was asking for access points, and we went through that in the comment review, and we didn't detail it out via this exhibit y'all are requesting, but
If you
that's how
didn't-
we came to this alignment for the plat lot lines.
If you didn't want to draw it in, you could probably just do a note in the plat.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Driveway's constructed.
you can indicate that, something and then have a note, general note in the plat. Because I think the biggest thing for council's purposes, this is gonna get recorded, so at least then, whereas the exhibit necessarily wouldn't be recorded with the plat. So I'd rather have something on the plat that's actually gonna be recorded. So indicating, A here, this point, and what A actually is referring to is their driveway access.
So it'd be the center line of a
Yeah.
10-foot driveway.
And it wouldn't be inappropriate for the owners to say, we want one centered on the frontage on Newton Street, but we also plan on using another one on Short Street, right? They can say that they're making two accesses into their property.
that gets a little tricky because,
Yeah.
and again, I have to go look at the specifics, but generally there's rules in there on how many curb cuts you get and which way the house is oriented. So
Okay.
you wouldn't want the house, like you wouldn't want a new builder to come orient a house down a short street and then you get this weird, one house is facing you.
Okay.
So with the variance in mind, we want to state it that the formal driveway, whether it be put in today or in the future, be coming off of Newton Drive.
Yeah.
The access point.
Yes, the access point.
I
from
think
Newton.
that's really all they're asking.
Yes.
Just to make sure that if a driveway gets constructed, they have an idea.
I would
It's
say
more for future owners.
More than likely, if we're specifying a driveway for her, it's going to be on the south property line on lot 41 along Short Street. Because if I remember correctly, that's the clearest access with the current tree configurations, and then on the other lot line, of course, you'd be clashing with the water and gas meter.
And we need to see something on Short Street if it's gonna be that way.
I just have one more question on Newton Drive. If there is no formal entrance to the lot 40, is there room to put a car on the side of the road there? The car has to go somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know that there is. I mean, you're over there more than I am.
I don't go around Newton very often, I'm sorry. It's,
Because if it's impeding the drive,
Yeah.
the road,
Yeah.
it's not going to be acceptable. So the question of whether it's done today or done in the future, that would also have an effect on it.
yeah, there's not much right-of-way on that Newton until you're up to houses and trees and other
Right.
things. So it's not like you have a 10 or 12 foot front right-of-way.
Kind of in
So
that,
what are we-
kind of hook by the gas meter. I mean, someone technically could pull in there and you'd probably be off the roadway, but I mean, again, that also becomes like a PD issue of blocking the road and various things
Right.
like that.
Well-
So.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I've been working here a long time. Newton Street is,
Been that way.
it's always been that way. There's not room for two vehicles to go through at the same time.
So parking a vehicle right there on
So you're
on the
not going to
side.
park on the road, because if you park on the road,
You block the road.
you're going to block the road.
So right now, even because the two property owners are sharing this common entrance, in the future, like what you're saying, that's not going to be feasible.
Yeah.
So does the language say to do a propose or to actually add that in to the current design in order to allow the variance?
I think it's just understanding where the access point, is that correct, Austin?
Yeah, I don't know, if y'all are granting a variance with regard to street frontage, then I think part of that conversation is where, within the reduced street frontage, where would a driveway go if you want one? What it sounds like
And you're
the
saying
applicant's
they
saying
want
is,
to come off Short Street, right?
It would still be off of Newton Drive, but
On
along the
that
parallel with
southern-
Short Street.
Yeah, parallel with Short.
okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
But as long as you would turn off a Newton,
Mhm.
yes. So that'd be fine, however it's oriented, if you can just mark that for them, I think.
Yeah, and then make, like Zach
Yeah,
said, make it a
I think the
permit.
biggest problem is that with us not having a requirement for a driveway. If we did, I think it would be a whole lot easier to clean this up, right? But without that, this at least has something to fall back to noting on the plat. This is where council, as a part of the variance approval, said, we're okay with the, access points being from these two locations, and then that would cover it.
Which that is fine for now, but then as soon as it's sold, the new owners come in and they're left in the dark.
So just for clarification, I want to make sure what we actually have that is record. We do have requirements for new homes being built.
That's correct.
Okay, we do have. So it's a new home, it's got to be a 2-car width. So we do have that as record. I don't want anybody to confuse. The uniqueness about this is we have homes that are already built. So that's a uniqueness that goes along with that. So, but if it makes it easier, I don't want to spend a lot of time or for us to be able to go through this. If it's something that the council wants to go ahead and just table and then come back, just to make sure that we get a review all the way across and we have it designed in a way where it's going to be a matter of record, which is the biggest thing.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table this, allow time for the city administrator and the property owners to take a look at this again and with the suggestions we made in order to approve the variances in the future, that these improvements be put into writing or put into the actual drawings.
If I could, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Back to this exhibit, I didn't notice it looking at it. It's been a little while, but we do point out on this exhibit that was submitted to the city engineer those access points. So the leaders call out the existing driveway being the Lot 40 access from Newton Drive right away. And then we do have an arrow towards the southern border of Lot 41 saying that's the access from Newton Drive right away. And we also have a separate leader showing how via the unbuilt out Short Street right away there is access if needed for that property owner.
And are those marked on the actual?
They're not on the plat.
Yeah, you see, that's what we need.
They're on the,
It has
On
to
the
be,
plat, what we do have is we have a note about the variances and how the plat has to abide by the variances accepted by Planning and Zoning Commission on March 17th, I believe, was the date last week. So, but if we do need to add other things, it's understandable.
yeah, we need to be
I
very,
think if we added that same notation on the actual plat and then had a note to correspond to it, I think that council generally would be, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think that's what they're looking for.
yeah. Anyway, once again, permanent in the plat, and number two is if there's some way to be able to show it where visually it's very easy to see. If it's possible based on the design, it would be good just to have it a matter of record on there. You don't have to draw, but I'm just saying here's the access point so that it's very easy to be able to identify it. You need to get very specific on the comments, so exactly where it would be. But I do have a motion on the floor, so I need to make sure that we follow through. I do have a motion for us to go ahead and table that.
Yeah, I'd second it.
You have a second? Okay, now I'll put it up for discussion. So anything else that we want to talk about? Nope. Okay. All those in favor for us to go ahead and table? Any opposed?
No.
Okay.
Table to the next meeting, right?
Table to the next
Okay,
meeting.
right.
Next regular meeting.
The next regular meeting.
Right.
Yep.
That's what I understood but wanted to clarify.
So Paola, if you can just put on there, table to the next regular meeting, okay? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to B. This is a presentation and acceptance of the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit comprehensive annual financial report prepared by Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates, PC, certified public accountants. So,
I will just introduce Jacob for y'all, who will be presenting the findings for the 23-24 audit.
all right. Awesome. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Howdy, I'm Jacob Toomey with Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates. We conducted the fiscal year 2024 audit. It's now concluded. I would just like to thank Lynette, Zach, Paula, and everybody else here at the city for helping us out. We really can't get the audit done without the support of your staff, and your staff was a great help in getting it done. So I would like to thank them for that. That being said, I'll go ahead and get right into it. So you have a copy before you, and I'm just going to reference a few quick pages, and then I'll get into the letters that accompanied the audit. So on page 1, you'll actually see our audit opinion. In the current year, you had a unmodified, unqualified opinion. What this means is we had no qualifications or modifications. The financials as they are presented are materially correct. So they are financial statements that you can rely on. And that's kind of what page 1 goes over. If you continue to turn to page 13, you'll get to your statement of net position. This is an overarching statement. It shows both the governmental and business type activities that y'all have. Business type being your utility funds, and governmental being the kind of more day-to-day operations like police and general administration that y'all have here at City Hall. The main thing to notice on this is that there was a very slight drop in your governmental activities. You did have less cash in at the end of the current fiscal year. This was because you spent a lot of money on a lot of new capital projects that y'all have been working on. I'm sure you've seen the construction going on throughout town and approved all of that. So you did have quite a bit of major project going on that reduced your cash and increased your AP. So overall, it only ended up being about $36,000 decrease. So not a very large decrease in terms of what you have on the books, but it was still a decrease. If you turn to the next page, you'll see the statement of activities. This is more or less the income statement for the city of Lytle. You'll see it has your program revenues, your expenses by department. And you'll also notice over on that second page, page 15, you'll see that $35,911 drop in your net position. The main thing to note here is that you did continue to have growth within your taxes. Your sales tax grew, your property tax grew. Homes and property are just always getting more valuable, so you're seeing growth in that. And then your sales tax grew. There's been a lot of expansion here at the highway with new businesses and new buildings coming in right there. And that's helped increase your sales tax. And that's been a great boon. But your expenses also grew as well. The main thing I would note was your professional fees grew in the past year, along with your salaries and wages. It's hard to not have salaries and wages increase in value. You have good talent here. You want to retain them. You gotta incentivize them to stay. Professional fees also grew as you had more projects going on. You had more engineering, more consulting, more legal to get all those projects done. And then the last thing before I get into the letters, if you go all the way to the back to page 47, you'll actually see a budget to actual, which shows you more kind of what you were expecting versus what happened. I brought up earlier that your property taxes went up and your sales taxes went up. Your property taxes didn't go up quite as much as you expected, despite increasing, but your sales tax actually increased more than you were expecting, and you were actually over budget in revenues overall, especially because of your sales tax, which was over budget by $232,000.
Jacob, could it be possible that on the increases, that would also incorporate some of our disabled veterans too? So if we were projecting a particular home to be able to bring a revenue, and because of this, how we give
freeze.
credit, yeah, so it could include some of those, right?
Yes, so
Okay.
depending on how the freeze works,
Yeah.
over 65, disabled veterans, those
Yeah.
freezes will kind of keep your tax value down, which keeps your revenue from increasing as much as you would probably
Correct.
expect, or as much as the market would say, because those value increases aren't being reflected because of the freezes.
Yeah, because I can tell you we do have a lot of disabled veterans, and some of them actually moved into some of the new homes.
Okay.
So their property, they're exempt from the taxation that goes along with that.
And you are still collecting at a good percentage rate for what you're levying, and with Atascosa helping out with that, it's gotten better with your collections. So your property tax, despite not hitting your budget, it is growing, and y'all are doing a good job of managing it.
Roger that.
Within your expenditures, you were slightly over budget, just very marginally so, only by about $3,000 in total. The main reason that y'all were over budget goes back to the professional fees that I was talking about earlier. You brought in a consultant, you have multiple projects that required legal consulting, and then you have a city engineer that's helping with all the projects and the platting, and that added up and put you just slightly over budget overall across all your departments.
Yes, sir.
So in the back of the reports, I do have two letters that we provided to the city. We'll go over the first one, which is the communication with those charged with governance. So this one is a letter that we send to every client. It's standard procedure to give this. It's got mostly boilerplate language that kind of goes over what our responsibility is and what your responsibility is, but the portions that I would like to call attention to, if you turn to page 3 of this letter, the first thing you'll notice is that there was a slight understatement of your property tax. This isn't to say that we couldn't find this this revenue, we traced it to your bank statements. It was deposited at the city, and the revenue does exist. We just couldn't trace it to the complexities of your financial statements. Below that, we do go over some of the major journal entries that we have. I'll actually get back to that on the next letter. And then below, we go over the opportunities that we think y'all have for improvement. Y'all have a small amount of inventory on hand for your public works department, and we've just noticed that there hasn't been good inventory management related to just keeping track of it and counting it. So we are suggesting that you do maintain it in a more formal way, and then that you do an annual count of the inventory. So that would be the first comment. And then if you continue going, the second thing we bring up, and we bring this up every year with the finance director, with the city administrator, and with Mayor Rubin, and that's just your interest rates are low at Lytle State Bank. And I do know y'all are actually going to be discussing moving to Tex Pool or Tex Glass or one of those higher interest rate banks tonight. So that is a comment we have on here, but y'all are already well on your way into taking care of it. The next thing is fund accounting. So one thing we noted is you had a fund for the police department, for animal control, for multiple different just general government departments, instead of holding them in your general fund, which the general fund's purpose is to hold all those departments. My understanding, and I've been assured by Mayor Rubin, Lynette, and Zach, that this also has already been taken care of, but as of the end of the fiscal year, it was something that we found as part of the audit. The next comment would be water pumpage reporting. We weren't provided a pumpage report, so we don't actually know how much water y'all pumped out of the ground. We were able to verify how much water you sold and all your revenues and expenses related to your water system, but not having a pumpage report can cause problems. If you don't know how much water you're taking out of the ground, how can you know if the amount of water you're selling is accurate or reasonable? If somebody comes in and says there's a leak and you don't know how much water you took out of the ground, it's a lot harder to say, no, there wasn't a leak, or yes, there was a leak. So it's just important to have that. And then the last comment is just related to the property tax that I was discussing earlier. You just want to make sure that you're processing that through your computer systems properly, and matching up to the reports that you're getting from Atascosa County as they collect the money for you, just to make sure that everything is getting booked properly. And that's kind of the end of the governance letter. The next letter is called the material weakness letter. These are issues that we see as more significant than what we would talk about in the governance letter. These are just more significant material issues that we found during our audit. On page 2 is kind of where we get into what those things are. And like I said earlier, to get back into the major entries we had as part of the audit, there were a lot of transfers that we had to correct. And there was a lot of things that were inter-fund between your proprietary funds, your utility funds, your general fund, and then between those departmental funds that I brought up, y'all should close out and that y'all have. We had to clear out quite a bit of stuff related to that. So we had major journal entries because of that, and that's what that first one gets to. That second comment about your cash accounts, this will be a part of moving to the new bank, so hopefully that helps. But y'all have 20 or more bank accounts that are happen to be 40 bank accounts. That is a lot of bank accounts that you have to reconcile every single month. You're having to move money between them every single month. So consolidating them, closing those bank accounts so that you only have 1 or 2 or 3, that'll help with the correcting audit entry comment above. That'll help with the reliance on journal entry comment below, because you'll have to make a lot less entries and there will be a lot less complexities. There's a lot more room for error as you grow. And having 40 bank accounts, you probably need 10 or less. just increases the amount of room for error. So reducing the number of cash accounts and not just going to a bank and keeping all 40 bank accounts, but just at a new bank with a higher interest rate, that isn't always the right move to go. You should also be consolidating your bank accounts. The next comment is related to your reliance on journal entries. I kind of brought this up on the other two things that I said. Because there's so much complexity into the financial system here, there is a lot of journal entries that are going on. And a lot of those journal entries are related to moving cash around, related to things that, well, you're doing things in ways that you could consolidate, and that consolidation will help cut down on the amount of journal entries that you're having to do on a day-to-day basis. And then that last one, I know I'm kind of harping on the cash accounts, but your bank reconciliations. Having to do 40 bank reconciliations every single month, there's a lot of room for error. And nobody is perfect 100% of the time, so when you're having to do 40 bank reconciliations every single month, an error is going to be made. That's kind of what the last one is about. So those are the letters in the audit itself. I'd be happy to answer any questions that y'all may have. And if you have any questions that you think of, not tonight, or that you want to ask me later, Ruben, Lynette, and Zach all have my contact information. I'd be happy to talk to you tomorrow or in the future if you don't have any questions right now.
I do have a question just for clarification, because I'm not an accounting guy. There on the same letter on page 2 of the top correcting audit entries, these are large numbers, but this is just accounting numbers, right? Does money exist?
Yes. So
Okay.
most of this was, you said you moved $1.5 million from this bank account to this bank account, and that just got booked twice. So one bank account looked lower than it actually was, while one looked much higher. Or you said you moved money between. It just happens when you're having 100 entries go through the process every year. Y'all had 436 journal entries last year. So somehow in that, just one got double entered. It's when you're
on this, it's not one, right? There's a couple of them.
Yeah, so there's 4 different things
5
here.
million, correct?
Yes, so I will say a lot of this was actually just one entry. You're moving money from the general fund to the utility fund because you're starting a big project. You're moving from the general fund to your capital projects fund because you have a big project. You're moving money from your general fund to your debt service fund so you can pay off your debts. I know 1.5 million is very big for one entry, but it is an entry that is typical when you're moving a lot of money around because you have a lot of projects going on.
So the question also was to the reverse, the 2.4 million in funds recorded as a transfer that was not actually transferred?
Yes, so you had to make it.
Did we find that, or did they find that?
That entry specifically, I'm not sure, because the two of us kind of collaborate to find what mistakes were made throughout the year. And I do know she keeps a list throughout the year of entries that she feels are wrong, and she needs guidance on how to appropriately undo the entry and do it properly, that she gives me at the beginning of every audit.
Is there an answer? Who found it?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back.
The 2.4 was kind of a combo because of the way the money was transferred. So we just kind of wait, and I had asked Jacob, how do you want to fix this when it goes in? So it was just, the thing is, there's no deleting an entry in Gatsby Accounting.
No, I understand.
So we can't delete it. So that's what, because I did not change it, he came in and changed it, and he has to note it because he changed it.
It's just concerning that you have, double entries again, as we did the prior year.
Well, we're going to have double entries again because we still have those funds out there. We have to clear those funds that were put out there 2 years ago when they should have
Well,
been.
this was supposed to be a fix a year ago, right?
Well,
And
no,
it's
because
never the same.
that fix was 2 years ago and it was still rolling into this year
Well,
because we still had to have it fixed.
Yeah, that 5 million is concerning on this part.
Yes.
I have a question, if you could help me through this. So the ad valorem taxes, as a council, we try to save our taxpayers money.
Okay.
But there's a fine line in saving money and I guess becoming overburdened or underestimating what your taxes are going to be bringing in. So the number you're showing was 162,764 unfavorable for the variance.
So this is related to the budget?
That was page 47.
Yeah.
So essentially, when you budgeted back in September 2023, August 2023, I don't remember exactly when you set the 2024 budget, but in 2023, when you set the budget, you were expecting that much to come in because of growth and value. So yes, that is unfavorable because you were lower than the budget. But that unfavorable just means you were lower than the budget. That doesn't mean it's bad or wrong.
Well, because the question is that we did some freezing, for example. Is there a sweet line that the city should be at, and are we at that level? So if we budgeted at 1,020,000, but yet we came under that, and from what I understand, you've got to factor in tax freezes and then over 65 and so forth. Is there like a sweet line where where the city can say, well, we can't give any more tax incentives?
I think that's kind of beyond what the audit can answer.
So you wouldn't be able to tell us if we're there or not?
No, because I don't. I'm not anticipating what's going to happen in the next 3 years for the city, and that kind of tells you your property tax rate and your property tax incentives.
Which we have studies on, right?
Yeah, and I think that comes down to also being, in the budget process, as conservative and, and really making sure that we're getting those numbers from the appraisal districts, the correct way, and that they're working through those. And so we're making those decisions logically and also based on, the previous years to just see where we're kind of hitting the mark. So I think, it's a give and take, but it is in the budget process where really that we kind of figure that out. Again, knowing that this is 23, 24, so we're already in, beyond that.
So the audit's basically just telling us this is where we're currently.
This is where we ended
at
up.
that point.
This is where we ended up.
Well, we were shooting in the dark too, because we were still in that COVID building slowdown.
Sure, for sure.
They were expecting to build and sell, and they just stopped building for a while.
Correct.
So that blew our estimate right
sure,
there.
That's part of the problem, with, and I know, when we've looked at, bond funding and where we're at, as well, it's we thought, we'd be here, and then they didn't start building until, way later than that. So there's always a weird give and take there for sure.
So I just want to make sure that we address both of these before we move on into any others. Does that help, Michael?
Yeah, it's just giving us an overview of where we were, because this is going to be helpful for the future.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a couple of things that we've been looking at, and I don't want to mention them because we're still looking at them, but it's very good to know this information, and I appreciate that.
I know if you reach out to Atascosa, they can help you figure out what your.
Well, I know on this last budget, we were waiting for Atascosa to come in with their numbers.
Yes.
We also had where they were arguing the property tax and going in.
Yeah,
The
protests will
I'm
factor
sorry.
in.
Wait,
Right.
the protest came in there, and I know that Atascosa had a huge list of protesters.
They had an outstanding number at the time.
So I can't remember what the total impact was, but it was large.
Right. No, Mayor, it's just general information.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we address it. And with Matt's question that he has, so your expertise and just looking at the information that you obtained and working with Lynette, do you have any worries based on what you saw and where we're at right now that we need to take into consideration? There's some areas to go ahead and take some action based on the adjustments, but is there anything in your mind right now that walking away from here that you're concerned based on that?
INCO training. I think that everybody at City Hall would benefit from INCO training to some extent.
Okay.
They all have experience and knowledge within code, but it's a very complex system. It's something that I look at for 12 months out of the year, and I still sometimes will struggle with it, and I have to go and get training with it. So in-code training is one thing that I always suggest and always think can help even an expert accountant, an expert user of in-code going and learning more is always good.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I know that we've had some delays on a few things. We've been talking about adjustments and things that we needed to do just because we had to get everything realigned. But we want to make sure that we walk away in a sense of just overall with what you all found in here with the city. Good, very good.
I mean, it's improvement. There's improvement in the city, and I think I've seen improvement every year.
Okay.
So I think that's a good thing personally. So always just strive for that.
Yeah. I will say, I do want to thank you all because one of the things that the council made a decision that we would rotate and we bring another auditor. So next one that's going to be done is going to be somebody else. But I just want to personally thank you, and I know the council feels the same way of helping us out because when you guys came on board, yeah,
You know.
it was, we were, if you all remember, those of you that were around, we were 3 years behind. We were 3 years. She's telling me 5.
We went 2017.
Well, we're current now, so.
So,
We went
but
2017. That's when he said he did 2017.
I know, but based on where we're at in the timetable of being able to, but where we're at right now, we're supposed to get them done within a certain time period. I want to say 120 to 180 days after the closeout of the fiscal year. Is that about right? Ish.
So I think y'all don't have any requirement as far as I know, outside of any bond requirements that y'all have. I know the GFOA wants to see it within 6 months, which today would fall within that. I know that if we were doing a single audit, we would fall within the requirements for that by doing this today. So y'all are within kind of the average, the normal.
But general accounting practices, that's what you normally try to get in 120 to 180 days after the closeout of the year, be able to get it done, right?
Yeah,
So-
January to into March.
So I just want to say thank you because we can honestly say that for the first year we are where we need to be based on where we actually were before and years before. So we're set up in a sense of where we need to be. So it's good for us to have a good foundation and where we're at. But please thank Debbie, and helping us out and being able to take care of where we started and where we're at right now. And we definitely, I wrote down all the stuff that you mentioned in there. I know it's in the letter, but I put my personal notes of stuff for us to be able to tackle and be able to look at it. But I want to make sure, is there any other questions or anything else that we need to address as a council?
Mayor, do you need a motion?
Yes, we will need to, I just want to make sure, since we got him here, and I don't know, Zach, you want to mention?
One last thing, because I know that it was mentioned on the training aspect. So, and one thing that Armstrong Vaughn Associates has asked us to do is bring somebody in to do that training, and I've already made contact, and actually she came by today for the first kind of sit down with Lynette.
It's for in-code training?
In-code and just general, like looking at everything and just make sure, we're on the right path, with everything. So, so she's made her first contact in person, and she'll continue to kind of bring in, bring her expertise to the table and kind of going like that. So I just wanted to let y'all know that has already started at some point. So.
And to reduce the excessive number of accounts, cash accounts?
Yeah, and obviously that's part of what we're doing tonight, right? So, yeah.
And just a reminder, there's certain things that we could align once we got things taken care of, and there's certain things that we needed to leave alone until we got everything back in order. So we're in a lot better position, and can't thank you enough. We appreciate that, Jacob, for us to be able to take the next step for our city to make sure that we keep getting things in a better place in the
Thank you for
future.
having me, and thank you for the opportunity to complete the audit over the past few years.
I appreciate it. All right, any other questions for Jacob? Anything else?
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion for the acceptance of fiscal year 2023 to 2024 audited comprehensive annual financial report prepared by Armstrong, Vigan and Associates, PC, Certified Public Accountants.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, got a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All yeas, all right. Council, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Jacob, thank you so much. Once again, please pass on to Debbie our thanks, okay?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and keep moving on. Let's go ahead and move on to C, consideration and possible action request from San Antonio LD LLC for the city's consent to assign Clara Land LLC a drainage easement dated November the 12th, 2024, and access easement dated November 12th, 2024.
All right, so Mayor and Council, city was contacted by Clara Land, so I want to say sometime late 2024, the Roush Coleman name was bought up by Lennar Homes, and whatever their normal name is as associated with Lennar. However, the Saddle Ridge project was not included as an asset in that sale. However, Roush Coleman owned the San Antonio LD LLC name, which Lennar bought. And so this Clara Land LLC has come in and purchased the rest of the subdivision build out between where they're at with 2 and 5, as well as the sections 3 and 4, and obviously the access and drainage easements that were approved back in November of last year. And so as a part of that, it's kind of typical that even though the exchange of those easements are between those two entities, that we basically are consenting to allow that exchange to happen and that assignment from San Antonio LD to Clara Land to happen. And so that's what this particular item is. One thing that they conveyed, Clara Land conveyed to us is that obviously if we are not looking to have Lennar be involved in that subdivision over there, this is something that we definitely want to proceed with. So they're needing this to finalize that process. So that's why this item is before.
You don't offer a recommendation here.
I don't know why I didn't, but obviously I recommend, we
that's what I wanted to hear.
approve that assignment. So, and I know that we're looking into, we've kind of hit a standstill with actually the build out of those two easements. And I think part of it is wrapped up in this, even though it shouldn't be. And I know Austin could probably speak to that more, but
Yeah, that's the update we got. I know that's been an issue for y'all, and this is the same, these easements relate to that same secondary access for the subdivision. They're in the process, obviously, of changing developers, which also will entail changing, contractors and everything on the ground. And so that's really the response we got when we asked about that. To give you all an update today was there's going to be a new, leadership group to deal with, and we'll definitely raise this with them once they're still, trying to loose ends to get everything transferred over. But once it is and they hit the ground, we will let them know this is important and that the city would like to see construction take place.
So this doesn't have any adverse effect on that second easement we were talking about?
No, the obligation to build that is going to transfer to this, this assignment. We've had, obviously, all that months of conversation with the previous owner about that. In that sense, we're kind of starting fresh with a new developer.
Just lining things up.
yeah.
Sure, but it's just about explaining to them why we are where we are, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Get to that step, yeah.
Pretty straightforward. Can I get a motion for us to go
Yeah,
ahead? and
Mayor,
do
I'll
this?
make a motion that we approve the request from San Antonio LD LLC for city's consent to assign to Clara Land LLC a drainage easement dated November 12, 2024, and access easement dated November 12, 2024.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Yeah, second. Okay, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All yeas, thank you so much. Appreciate that, council. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to D. Consider impossible action concerning resolution number 2516, a resolution of City Council of City of Lytle, Texas, approving the terms and conditions of an agreement by and between the City of Lytle, Texas and Underground Water Resources LLC for the plugging of well number 3, CSB number 2024-10-05, providing for incorporation of preamble, authorizing the mayor to execute all and any documents necessary to effectuate such a contract and providing an effective date.
All right, so Mayor and Council, pretty self-explanatory, but back in January, we did award to Underground Water Resources the project to plug up our well number 3, which is an open violation that we've had with TCQ. And so we've gotten some information moving finally with Edwards, and UWR is ready to at least get started on some of the logs that they have to do as a part of this process. And so the contract obviously is before you to actually initiate that contract, and then they'll start to get into work on what needs to be done, and we can close this one out.
Have we settled on the price of this yet?
So it's looking like it's probably going to be that 140, the higher amount, but there's still, once the logs are officially into Edwards, then that could potentially decrease to that 120. But that was what we originally, when we awarded, we went with the higher amount just to cover any additional.
So in approving this tonight, we're saying up to 140,000?
Yeah, it was that 140. That was when we awarded.
When we awarded it.
Made that notation.
Right, okay.
So it could decrease, but yeah.
Yeah, this is putting the resolution basically.
Yeah. This is just entering the actual contract with that group now.
Yeah.
Well, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion then that we approve resolution number 25-16 as presented on today's date, March 24th, 2025.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that with the effective date today of March 25th, 2025. I think that's what you said, David. Effective date today?
Today's 24th. Yeah, I said that.
24th? Yes.
Yeah.
24. Okay. Okay, got a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, council, I can't thank you enough. Appreciate that. We are taking care of an issue that has been open since 2006. And we are taking care of it.
When did you come on the council?
2017.
Oh, okay. So it was open a decade before you came in.
We're taking care of stuff, just like our public works is taking care of other stuff too.
Good.
So
Good.
we're cleaning up, and that's all good. We're going to take care of this so we can go ahead and just move on. So I appreciate all your help with being able to do this. Okay, E, consideration and possible action concerning award of competitive seal bid number CSB 2025-02-02 for the Lytle Railroad Street, McDonald Street 12-inch main loop to Ace Construction LLC in an amount not to exceed $2,202,143.06.
As noted, the city issued out competitive sealed bid for the 12-inch water main loop. This is to go down Railroad Street and McDonald Street out to under 35 and out to Lytle Farms, one of the new subdivisions out there. You can see TRC, who Scott Horowitz is here representing TRC. You see the bids that were for their recommendation letter that were issued. Ace Construction was the low bid, and they are recommending Ace Construction to also go with that. I think
Elliot, I know we got Elliot.
Yes, sir.
Any comments? I know you signed up. Anything you want to provide?
It'll be a tough one going through town, but we'll get it done.
Well, the busiest street right here.
That's right, yes, sir.
Right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Like I said, Railroad Street won't be a problem, but going through downtown, it'll be tough just in the sense that production will be very low. But we're going into this knowing that. But we'll make sure that if awarded, we'll be in touch with everybody possible to make sure they know what we're doing at all times.
Roger that. And the funding,
To note, Ace Construction is also doing the 12-inch water line under the CDBG project out
132?
towards, coal mine.
132.
132. So already in the city and very familiar with what, we kind of have going on here. And they were also the ones out at 3175 with the IHOP construction that TxDOT had out there. So I think you were referring to funding. This is under our CO money, so all that is covered under our bond funds. I will note that I think it's a little under actually what was anticipated in the
what we forecasted.
original cost. So that's great. Don't get any ideas.
Yeah. Couple change orders.
No. No, but it's, just so you know, I mean, it's not like we need to go, this is already covered. This is part of what we actually have been working on for a while to be able to take care of it. And Scott, thank you for your help being able to get things lined up for this. But this is a good project for this side, and it's going to be able to help us out in a sense of with our development that is happening. Along with, we'll be talking, we already have the tower too. So it's all connected with having our new water tower that is going to be on the other side too. So it'll be good. Okay, with that in mind, council?
Yeah, Mayor, I make a motion there that we award the competitive sealed bid number CSB 2025-0202 for Lytle Railroad Street, McDonald Street 12-inch water main loop to Ace Construction LLC in an amount not to exceed $2,243.06 today, March 24th, 2025.
Okay, got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll say.
Got a second? Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
What's on the one on 132, is it the rock that's giving a little problem there? Is that lime rock or?
No, it's like a sandstone.
It's sandstone.
Yeah, it's just a hard sandstone.
The telephone company, no, not telephone. CPS had a hard time and they bought like 3 different companies and then CPS ended up just bringing some bigger,
Bigger hammer.
Bigger
hammer
equipment.
diamonds or whatever
Yes,
they
sir.
were using.
Yeah, we're starting to come down the hill, down towards the creek, and they dug about 150 feet of it today, and they started to get out of it. So that's what I'm hoping is that we get down to the bottom, we get out of it. We ran into the same situation when we were doing the bore, or not the bore, but the open casing cut on
3175.
Yeah, that's right. And we were going through it, and there was just large sandstone boulders.
You sure there's no gold down there?
Yeah. I tell you what, my guys wouldn't tell me if they found it.
That way I can let that bar owner over there know about it.
Yeah. Well, if I got
What's his name?
quit next week, I'll know why.
But let's hope based on what we're talking about right now, let's hope that the 12-inch main right here, we
Yes.
don't have any of those problems. So
Yeah.
we can be able, the critical thing with this one, just for the council as a reminder, is being able to get this done before we get our sidewalks put in. So that's why it's so critical for us to be able to.
Yeah, I had a meeting with TxDOT about that last week. We had a closeout of a project. I was talking with them about when it bids, when it would start. So we feel very comfortable. We'll get out of their way.
What's your time frame?
Well, we're going to start, like I said, since the production, our plan is the production in here, in this area, HEB, Sonic and all that area, it's going to be so slow that we're going to probably get 60 to 80 feet a day just because of utilities, not trying to tear things up. But we can get through that in probably 3 to 4 months is what we're looking at. But at the same time, we're going to have an additional digging crew over here on Railroad Street trying to double our production to try to get out of here a lot more quicker. I mean, we don't want to be here any longer than anybody else wants us to be. We've got other jobs coming up.
They swapped to help us out with the sidewalks. We were going to start that way and come this way. So now we're starting over here, concentrate our efforts so we can have the opportunity
In
for
the
sidewalks.
plans, we put that this portion needed to be done, so that would be
Yeah.
there real.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Any other further discussion?
I just appreciate you guys working with us on this.
Sure, yes, sir. Like I said, we're open to whatever we need to do here. And all of our guys are local, so if anything happens, y'all know as well as I do, the IHOP, we were there 24 hours straight and we got it done. So we're all local and here to help any way we can.
Good deal.
One more thing on some of that work up on 132. if there was asphalt there anywhere, are you providing asphalt at the end of it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was in part of the contract that we're gonna put it back. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Base drivers will get base. If there's some hot mix or something that needs to go down, yes, sir, we're putting it back.
Great.
We're trying to get through all that before having to go back and do it each day. We're just trying to clean up as we go, but yes, sir, we are
Yeah,
supposed
because
to
he
do
was saying that one little rock area kind of put them down a little bit. It should already been.
Yes, it did. It killed our production quite a bit, but hopefully, it sounded like today was much better, so we should be moving along now.
Well, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All yeas. Thank you so much, council. Doing good. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can knock out one more on here. F, consideration and possible action concerning ordinance 2507, an ordinance of City Council, City of Lytle, amending section 4292, adjustments of defects and customer system of Article 9, utility rates and charges of Chapter 42, utilities, and to add fees for excessive customer requested utility meter rereads, providing for incorporation of preamble, providing a penalty amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of the violation of provision hereof, and providing a repealer clause and severity clause and an effective date.
All right, so
Zach.
Mayor and Council, as we talked about last meeting, I think it came up about the rereads and the customer asking about those rereads. So we've come up with the language that you see in the attached ordinance. Basically giving each customer, once per calendar year, an allowance to ask, for a reread of their meter. And obviously if after that point, if they ask a second and subsequent times, they would be charged a fee according to the master fee schedule, which of course would be the next item that would be under consideration. But this portion is just the language set forth. The one thing that in working with our attorneys that they felt like we probably should add in their language that if it is found to be an error on our part, then obviously they would be refunded any
Yeah, I noticed that on
fund
there.
back to them as that was our bad. So
And that's entirely optional, it's up to y'all. I included that as really just out of, if you're right, then you should be charged, but, and it would just be credited on your next bill, because you need to pay up front. You need to pay the $25 before they can come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead of refunding it, it would be just credited, knocked off your next utility bill. If you turned out that the meter was wrong or needed repair, whatever, but if y'all want to have a flat fee, every time you call them out, you could do it that way
Okay.
too.
So right now, we're just taking a look at the ordinance. We'll get into the fee in a little bit, but we got the ordinance in front of us, so,
Yeah, the fee's gonna be set separately.
Yep.
Because it could change.
yes, sir.
So it reads the same calendar year. We're not talking about a 12-month period between requests.
We can amend it to be in a 12-month period. The tricky part about that is you're then.
You have to do the math.
Yeah, you're having to see when
And the calendar year would be our fiscal year?
Calendar is
Yeah.
just
So it would be
January
actual January to
to
January.
December.
That way, all you have to look at is the
Yeah.
year date. If they had one in 2024, then you start charging them.
Yeah.
Okay.
after that.
Which is easy to do given our system. It tracks when, work orders go in, so it's not, that's easy.
Okay. So if it's at 24 or 25?
Correct.
Okay. The other question that I have was, the customer calls in, we find out that it is a city issue. We go out there and the city fixes it. If the customer requests again for a reread, just for sanity's sake, I don't think the customer should be penalized as having that second reading after the first reading, which was our fault,
Yeah.
be counted as a
Yeah,
customer.
I kind of thought of that.
Can I jump in here with that? So what happens, we go out and they put in that new meter, or they make the change or something like that. Pete immediately goes out there and gives a reread, so we have it in
Okay.
the system. It's already part of it. So there's a lot of times, like if there's something wrong where that meter is not good, where he has to bring a new read in and we have to
Right.
reestablish it in the system. So that's kind of already in there.
Okay, so if it's built into the system, that's fine.
Right,
Yeah.
so it would just be, for us not to have a reread on a construction issue would have to be a weird situation. Because
Okay.
that's just part of it. Now, if it's something on their side, then we'd have to look
Right.
into it.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And get a motion.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll make a motion here that we approve the ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lytle, Texas, amending Section 42-92, adjustments for defects in customer systems of Article 9, utility rates and charges of Chapter 42, utilities, to add fees for excessive customer requested utility meter rereads, providing for the incorporation of preamble, providing a penalty of an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof, and providing a repealer clause, a severability clause, and an effective date of today, March 24th, 2025.
I might have missed it, but can you just mention the ordinance number?
Ordinance number 25-07.
Thank you.
I'll second
Appreciate
that.
that. Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all yeas, all right. Well, we are right at the time where we can take a little break.
We're going to do the fee?
You want to do the
Yeah, and
fee?
then we'll go to break?
You guys want to do the fee?
I said we try to just finish it and then go to the executive. We only have one more after that.
Oh, we still got a few. Okay. Let's go ahead and go G, consideration and possible action concerning ordinance number 2508, an ordinance of City Council of City of Lytle, Texas, amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 master fee schedule to add a fee for excessive customer required utility meter rereads, providing an incorporation of preamble, providing a repeater and a savings clause, and a severity clause, and setting an effective date. Zach.
Mayor and council, this is the fee portion of it. I came up with an arbitrary number of $25, so it's really up to what y'all want to approve, but that's where I came up with that one, so.
Yeah. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 25-08, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lytle, Texas, amending the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 master fee schedule to add a fee for excessive customer request utility meter rereads, providing for incorporation of preamble, providing a repeater, a savings clause, and a severability clause, and setting the effective date today, March the 24th, 2025.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second. Okay. Discussion. The only question I have, are we good with $25 covering the cost, what it takes for us to go do the reread?
That was gonna be my only tip, is it's not so much arbitrary as it is reflective of the actual cost of the city of performing the reread, when there's not a need to do so.
Yeah.
And that would be a question for public works as far as the time, you know.
Yeah.
So to go out and do a reread, depending on the side of the city, we're probably looking at 30 minutes if they do not get sidetracked somewhere else. Overhead and burden rate on peak, because I just did it when I did the rebilling for when they hit the meter over there, is $75 now. So
This would recoup.
That's on peak, who's high.
at the highest,
Yeah, so
and at the lowest
25
is probably,
Now, on F, did you say how many that would mean excessive?
Yeah, so it's after they get one free.
You get one
Basically,
free.
one free every year.
Okay, and so if they're incorrect every time because the city took it
And
wrong?
we would refund it every single
Okay.
time.
Well, we wouldn't charge it.
Well, we would need to charge originally
charge it up
because
front.
we would need to charge before going out because we're spending the cost.
Oh, got it.
But then They would be
Got
refunded
it.
out on their next
Got it.
bill.
I'm with you now.
but most of the time, and like I told Zach, it would never get that far, but because we would do the rereads on any odd reading that we would have, we would already complete it in the system. Very few things would get past us to have to do that review.
Yeah, city initiated reread isn't gonna
This is more,
The customer.
yeah, this is more when customers keep asking, can I
No, we've
get?
been getting a lot more rereads on the new meters.
No, and I've had Virginia actually total that for me, and it's on my report. I think I put 14, we had 14 in-house initiated rereads. And 5 or 6 calls, yeah, I'd have to look on my report. I did put it on my end of month report.
It is less than it has been this month.
It's much
but-
less.
But in past months, I think where council originally wanted to produce this idea was because we were seeing an increase. I mean, we do see with the new meters going in, a lot of customers are questioning, hey, you know, why is that, you know, so high? If it's outrageously high, we see it. So I mean, we go out and we initiate that, and that's not to do with any of this. But you know, if customers are questioning it and they're calling and they're asking us to go out there, then obviously this is when it would kick in after that first one was free. So that's good.
Okay. Okay, any other further discussion? Okay, you guys know have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All yeas. All right, you want to keep going?
Or you can if you want.
One more.
Oh, there's two more to go.
Okay.
There's 2 more to go. I see we just
Let's
missed
see
it.
how the other one goes.
2 more.
Let's see how it goes. Consideration and possible consideration and possible action concerning resolution number 2517, a resolution of the City Council of City of Lytle, Texas, approving the transfer of certain municipal funds from the Lytle State Bank accounts to tax pool accounts. Zach.
All right, so Mayor and Council provided for you was the, I think it's about 11 accounts that we're talking about moving, about $2.1 million moving from Lytle State Bank to tax pool. As y'all requested during our last meeting, we provided in a 12-month period what we received annually on interest for all of those accounts. So you'll see that number there, which is $4,541. Under a low estimated scenario of the tax pool at 4.1, which it's not even sitting at that today, it's closer to 4.3, but this just gives you a approximate month alone, it's about $7,200. So already a couple $1,000s more for a month, whereas we only received that in a year. And then you see the yearly average returns potentially under that 4.1 or that 5.1 scenario. So that just gives you an idea of what we would be looking at for those accounts. Tax pool also provided us just so you'll get a general sense of if you had 500,000, a million, 3 million, and then even higher numbers in there, what that looks like throughout a 12-month period. Generally what you could expect under what they've seen in the last couple of yields of their rates. So significantly higher than what we're obviously getting currently. So.
Council, just a reminder on this one, this is one of the things that was indicated to us by the auditors. So we're taking care of business.
Yeah, the only question I have, I know it was explained and the differences was spelled out very nicely.
Yeah.
We are going into the tax pool prime.
Tax pool prime, yes, which includes the commercial cash, so it's a little bit higher of a rate.
Okay. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2517, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lytle, Texas, approving the transfer of certain municipal funds from Lytle State Bank accounts to tax pool accounts.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second? Okay, got a second? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I do want to mention on this, we still will continue our relationship with Lytle State Bank. We are going to continue to have our regular operations money along with the money that we have in the projects that are there. So we still will be tied to them as a partner to be able to take care of that.
And it's about, when I was looking at it, it's about between our bond fund that's there that will remain there, obviously be expending that, but It's about $9 to $10 million that is still going to be at Lytle State Bank. And as we talked about, as potential CDs mature, we might move those out, but ultimately right now they're sitting at about 9-10 million that between our operating and some other accounts that would still remain in. So.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Did y'all look into tax pools?
Tax pool, yes.
Okay, because it's not FDIC.
It is not. That is correct.
Yep.
Can you repeat the question?
So she was asking about tax pool not being FDIC insured,
No,
which
thank
it is
you.
not, but it is backed by government treasury notes and things like that. So that's why this
It's
is
back from a different agency.
correct.
And just out of curiosity, you did touch base with Lytle State Bank. They know we were doing this.
I conveyed these accounts, and I conveyed also the accounts that would remain, and also the moving of the CO money to a CD. So that'll probably come forward, so we can make that adjustment at a
Right,
later
yeah, we
date. But
talked
yes,
about that,
that was
yeah.
all provided.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Let's go ahead and take care of the last one. This is going to be I, and this is discussion and possible action concerning amending the code compliance officer position for a part-time position to a full-time position. Zach.
All right, so Mayor and Council, I did receive, I think it was last week, if not the week prior, resignation from our current code compliance officer. They're just looking really to move on and aren't interested in doing it anymore. And so as a part of this coming budget, my plan, just with all the activity we have going on in town, we've talked about them filling in to look at our simple permits that we're issuing, making sure that people are actually complying with that, since those aren't reviewed by AOCA through any review process. And also just the water issues we're having, and we've talked about before, and making sure people are complying with some of our drought restrictions, and just a litany of other issues. My plan was to try to, obviously in the next budget cycle, talk about, moving or migrating that to a full-time position. Obviously, I don't like to do that mid-budget, but I felt like with the resignation, this is probably the best time to do that. So if we're going to post it as a full-time, if that's something that council's wanting to do. I did provide to you the job description, but also the breakdown of just some general costs. If we were to leave at the current rate, I think it's $15.45, then it's about a $30,000, that's full with medical, retirement match, liability, all that. That's about $30,000 extra to the budget for this year, and then obviously we would build it in as we go into the budget cycle and show you what that fully is. But again, we can leave it at part-time. I'm more than happy to do that, and we can talk about it in the budget cycle if that's more y'all's speed, but I figured this was the best opportunity given the situation we're in. So.
Yes, this is a work in progress. Yeah, the job description, the requirements, they don't constitute a full-time position from what I see. However, I believe you mentioned looking at additional responsibilities.
Yeah.
That may help. The resignation effective date? Already passed?
No. I believe it would be it'd be this Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do is put this in the back burner so we can look at it during budget. So I don't know if I can make a motion to table to take no action.
I would just add, to the extent y'all have code violations ongoing, any peace officer can issue those citations. So if this position goes vacant till August or whenever, it's not like the city can't enforce its codes if it wanted to. It would just require working with chief to get, PD resources on.
Yeah, that's my thinking too, a
Zach and I
hybrid
already-
between a police officer and.
We did already talk.
Zach and I have already
We had already
met,
talked.
and but the code guy does more than code enforcement. I think maybe that's really where the issue is, that it's kind of hard, because when you say code enforcement, well, it's code enforcement, but he does a lot of leg work. It's,
It's really, it's a code enforcement officer, but it's more the compliance, it's the constant going back, the, tracking of those issues that are popping up, the nuisance issues.
almost like an inspector job
Sure.
almost, so.
Including the research
Yes.
required.
Yeah.
And I think we could, and like I say, when he was putting his resignation, Zach came to me, so we have a working plan to try to address issues.
We have that portion, but the one thing, and I think this is where Zach is going, and one of the things that we've dealt with is that we need to make sure that if there's something, whether it's presented to staff or it's presented to us, that there's some sort of follow-up, okay? So if we get something that comes in front of us and we approve it, whether it's with variances or we say, hey, it's okay for you to get this one building and it's within the setback and all there, we need somebody to go ahead and do that. We have never done that. So that's the reason why Zach is coming back and saying we need to have somebody full-time to make sure that what we either approve here or the staff approves, that they actually do that.
That wasn't in the description. The one that you submitted, right? But that is a very good addition.
So that's the reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we're going into a full-time, because
Yeah, absolutely.
we need to be able to do those things. Or somebody shows up and they brought, which we now have a permit. We approved a permit to bring in a shed. Somebody decides to show up and just go ahead and plop a shed without coming through City Hall. So there's a lot more than just going over and looking for a brush.
And this is just a draft
Yeah.
job description. Obviously, it would, we would tighten anything up before we went
Yeah,
out.
but something like that, definitely.
Yeah, but for tonight, what we're doing, and we can come back with the job description,
Sure.
but for tonight, what we're doing is just basically just allowing us to go ahead and move forward with it being a full-time position.
That would be the motion I would like to make as well, is to allow you the ability to look into this and include what the mayor was saying.
Okay.
And, we do need a full-time person in that position.
Can you make a motion for a full-time person?
I'd like to make a motion to further investigate the addition of a full-time position as code compliance officer.
Okay, so
I
further,
don't know if I need to do table, if I need to do take no action.
Yeah, I think Zach just didn't want to, we don't want to prepare a job description with
Yeah.
having in mind it's going to be a full-time
Well,
position only for y'all to
the other portion of it, so putting on my other hat with the old HR, is it's better for us to go ahead and decide, because we're going to be hiring somebody. And we want to make sure that we're already looking at the possibility that we are going to be doing the full-time. So that's part of his interview and the stuff that we're doing.
And if it's council, obviously, I would prefer to go full-time from the beat, right? From tomorrow issuing, getting all the job description fixed to what it needs to be and getting that out there. But I know some people would look at it more if it was that than if we're hiring a part-time and then we're going to switch it, next budget, in a couple months.
It's hard to advertise it since they become full-time.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion that we turn the code compliance position from part-time into full-time.
Okay.
Well, we have,
You had a motion on the table.
we have
Can you
to,
repeat? Okay, let's go ahead and go back to this.
Let me make the motion,
Do you want to amend your motion?
yes,
Okay, amend your motion.
to look into. I still would like it to be looked into.
Okay, so we're going to follow up. We're going to do your motion first, okay?
Okay.
So your motion is to go ahead and just look into it becoming a full-time.
Instead of looking into, move forward.
But looking into is researching. That doesn't mean that we're approving. You're just basically saying you want him to look into
You
it.
want some additional information on what it looks like.
Yeah, so
That's what you're saying.
that's what you're saying. We're not
I
making,
want to move forward to making this a full-time position under
Under the
the
advisement
idea that
those
we are looking
additional
at what you
duties-
said, because you brought it, but when I made my first statement, I was going based on the description.
Yeah,
Then you
I'm
brought
with
in
you.
a lot of information
I'm with you.
that can be added to this.
okay, so,
With that
so
information,
tonight, we're just going to do the full-time. We can deal with the job description separately, okay? We can deal with the job description. So for tonight, and it would require an amendment, but what you're saying right now, you just want him to look into it and then come back to the council for us to vote. That's what you're saying right now.
No,
Do you-
I want to go ahead and make this a full-time position.
Okay, so the motion is that you want to make it full-time.
Yes.
Okay, so he's amending the motion. We have a full-time position. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, got a second. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And nay? Okay. Okay. I will put 4 and Miguel. Okay. All right, council, thank you so much. Appreciate that. It is 8:16. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. And stuff in the back, Paola?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. Take a break. Zach, let me know when we're ready. We're up? All right, all right. Paula, if you can actually show us back, it's 8:30. And we'll go ahead and move on to item number 8, executive session. The City Council of City of Lytle may convene an executive session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney to discuss and consider the following items. A, discussion concerning pending litigation and civil citation filed with Atascosa County District Court. And B, discussion concerning the use of hotel occupancy tax funds for baseball field lighting. If we can go ahead and show, it is 8:31, going into executive session. If we can all meet in the back. Okay, thank you so much. Paula, if you can go ahead and show us back at 8:47 p.m. Coming out of executive session, no action taken in the back. Let's go ahead and move on to item number 9, discussion and possible action regarding matters discussed in executive session.
Mayor, I'll go ahead and make an action that we go ahead and use our hotel occupancy tax to provide lighting at the field for future use or for Little League and anybody else.
Okay. So we have a motion. Who's got the second? Miguel has a second. Okay, so we have a motion to go ahead and use occupancy tax funds for baseball field lighting. Discussion at all? Think some folks are here. They came down. Come on up to the podium. Come on up. Go ahead and identify yourself and your association.
Hey guys, I'm Roland Esparza. I'm the president of Lytle Little League. And since we got the call from Zach and the mayor, I've been just over the moon about it. Thank you all so much for everything and everything else. We haven't told anybody. We're still keeping it a secret, so we can tell. Not anymore. I think the mayor's going to be there on Saturday, and Zach to announce it, to let the city know, because we are at 312 kids. It's our biggest year ever. We had 29 sponsors. The city really came out and showed their support. So we are growing. And as y'all are growing, we're growing with it. And we just want to keep going. Thank y'all so much. Of course. It's amazing.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now we're going to ask Devine News to kind of hold a secret until Saturday, if possible. You know?
Paper goes out there.
just say, hey, there's a surprise on Saturday morning. Come out to the field, okay?
Bearing in mind that I'm going in the press tomorrow.
And be able to make it, and it'll be fun for everybody to have a great joy out there, so we appreciate that. Okay, any other further comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All yeas, motion carries forward. Thank you, council. We're taking care of stuff that has been open for generations. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to item number 10, the department reports, and the first one that we have is Lynette.
I'm gonna do it from here. I don't have my long glasses. They're in the truck. These are my short ones from the major general funds. We've done really well. We're at, for the budget year of 1.1, we're already at $1 million. We're at 90,000 under, which of course we will probably get those. We always have stragglers just like in here. Hotel motel tax, we're right where we need to be at a 6-month period. Franchise tax, we're actually doing really well. I will book your big one here shortly. That comes in from CPS, so people pay quarterly, and our bigger ones do come in quarterly. City sales tax, we are right where we need to be for the quarter of the year, so the budget looks really well there. So ad valorem, we're at 92%, franchise, we're at 60% collected, and for city sales tax at 54% collected. So, and I'm expecting to see city sales tax increase. Remember, we're always 2 months behind on that. We'll see more coming in with the truck stop. Court revenues, Zach can go into more of them. I'm just going to barely touch on it, but we collected $42,000 in court fines, and we're at $43,000 collected for the year on our revenues. Animal control, we're still, we have had some changes in there, which Zach can talk about. So the revenues kind of are not what they were the last prior year based on how we did our averages on the revenues, but we're expecting to see a jump here shortly. Library, again, nothing big changes. Cassandra does have some money-making projects coming in, and that big jump there on the other income at the lower is, of course, that grant fund that I booked back in February for her for the $13,000. Water utilities, we booked $83,000 for water. We're going to a little bit drier month, so we did see about a $10,000 increase. Total of 1,676 accounts and 16 new accounts. I will say, Pete's not here, of course he's sick, but I will, we just got the invoice and the shipping for 200 more radio reads that were just delivered, and Pete is determined that he is going to put out at least 10 a week. So we'll see how that goes. If we don't have a bunch of water issues, I think we can do it. Impact and acquisition fees are low for this month, but next month, which you're going to see for April, is a huge increase. I booked, I think, a little over $120,000 just in the last week. Storm utility funds. So I'm finally seeing the realization of where we are with this. So in March, we built about $14,000 out of 1,300 accounts. I'm very comfortable with this number now that we've had 3 months come in, and so this is kind of where I'm going to average it, and then based on the curve of the new homes that are coming in. So, and we didn't have any billing adjustments for those last month. We have no complaints with it. January for sewer was at the 1,008 accounts, and their revenues went up at $39,000. Last month we were around $38,000. We're right where we need to be up there. And again, you're going to see a jump in impact in fees for the next month as well. That's your cash revenues that I've just been kind of sticking in there. Zach and I have been super busy with trying to put that together, so I just figured I would share it with y'all on our total cash and liquid assets over at the bank. Utility billing updates, meter reading went really smoothly. We had one go back on the radio reads, and I know I put it on here. Maybe I didn't, no. Oh, there it is, tracking. We had 8 meters out of 1,676 were listed that the girls flagged that we had to sit back. So I told you wrong earlier. So it wasn't 13, it was 8. Radio reads, we have 579 in the ground, 200 new meters were ordered, and like I told you, Pete wants to do 10 a week. Stormwater billings reflect really well. I'm happy with that. I'm still working with Tyler on those excessive credit card fees that happened back in January, where they hit the account like 3 times in a row. They owe us about $30,000. It's in the process. If I don't see something here in April or May, I may have to get legal involved in it. I'm going to go over that with Zach here shortly, because it's not just us, it's everybody throughout the United States. Utility clerks are tracking the readings, already went through that. April vacation's coming off. Liza's going to be gone from the 2nd to the 7th. Virginia's going to be off March 28th to April 4th. I'm sorry, Liza was off March. Sorry, I should have taken that off. And then I am actually going to try to take off the 7th to the 11th. Don't look at me like that. Finance and accounting, just my normal daily packet reconciliations, credit cards, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go through it. Just the daily kind of stuff that wasn't so much daily, closing on the Bank Street house, which we all know about on the new purchase of our new property. Zach and I put a lot of hours into preparing the textile investment paperwork and transfer data. We had 2, I think we had more meetings than that with bank officials, but I did put 2 on there. We prepared the copper testing data that had to go out. They got done last week. That probably took about a week's worth of our time getting all that put together so we could send it out to, it was subcontracted out. And I am currently in the middle of preparation and data gathering for the water and sewer study. We're almost actually done with that. We should have that back, and Zach can present that to you shortly once I'm done with those numbers. Stormwater review and revisions. There really wasn't a lot, but we did go over some of them. We had some residents that came in that actually wanted their what we call shape files looked at, and I did kind of just maybe a couple of them back in February of a meter, a couple of feet here, a meter here, depending on what they want for that. Health insurance retirement seminars we had to do for the new year. I've got all that in place. I reviewed the retirement and health data for the new year to make sure that we're in full compliance. Another thing I didn't put on there that Zach can go to is we did get the insurance back. Did we have to come in there? TML insurance didn't come back. We did get that audited and we got back 9,000. We got 9,000 back on that audit. That was really good. And then of course just some miscellaneous human resources issues and reviews that had to be dealt with, which I'll all go about. And that's
Okay.
The radio meters,
yes.
from what I remember, the warranty starts the day we receive them.
The day that we receive them, and that was a conversation I had with Pete because I wanted to get them out. That's why I asked.
Yeah, they're 10 at 200, that's 20 weeks.
But he said 10 replacements, not including new homes. So if Paul is pulling 14 permits on average every 2 weeks,
Okay.
that's where my numbers come in.
The 10 would be new and
The 10 would be switching out.
Yeah.
No, the 10 would just be the switch out. The new homes would not be, is not part of that 10. So.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm not sure Zach can tell you on where we're going on those projections, but I projected 14 per month, but I'm sure I'm way under.
I think right now where we sit, I think we have a third. Is it a third, a little bit more than a
Probably
third?
a little bit more than a third now.
Of all of our
they have taken care
meters.
of some of the neighborhoods. They came in on some weekends and took care of some, spent a little overtime that we had. So
Matthew, I will
Probably
tell
a
you,
little over
they, Harmony had reached out to me to ask to go train another water company over here because I do programming stuff on what we call Black Betty, and I've kind of been really nice to them and helping them train another water company close by. And anytime I have a problem with a meter, they always take it back 2 years ago. They've been really good. They never even ask anymore. So they've replaced probably 10 meters for me. So they're real nice.
Anything else for Lynette? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Paula. Here we go.
My insurance, like always, we collected $108,000 for the ad valorem taxes for the month of February, and no beer and wine for the month at all. Again, these were all my meetings that I had for that month. I did end up going to the Alamo chapter meeting this time around at Windcrest, and it was a very informative meeting.
Good.
I had no requests for records at all. We only have one so far. And we published 3 agendas, completed 3 of the minutes. 2 orders were passed and 5 resolutions were passed. These are the upcoming events: April 17th outreach program and the farmers market. These are some of our vendors that are out there, and they'll be here for those days. That's about it. Do you guys have any questions?
Can you get us a flyer for the outreach?
Yes.
So we can go ahead and send it out?
Yes, sir.
I know we already took care of the Easter one, so we'll be able to do that.
I have extras out there, so people can just come and take them. We were giving them out at the festival.
Okay, good. Good. Council, any questions? All right, thank you, ma'am. Here we go, Zach.
All right, no change on the street and sidewalk one here. Water and sewer, obviously we awarded the 12-inch loop tonight, so that's really the only big update on those particular projects that from last meeting. Saddle Ridge, again, as we talked about earlier in the meeting, with all the changes that are being done with the cell, they're kind of at a standstill a little bit, so we're not seeing much movement over there. Obviously they do have the 20 that are under construction, and they'll continue to complete those, but then we expect that new Kalar group to bring in a new builder of some kind and finish out the subdivision. So we'll probably see a little bit of a hold on Saddle Ridge for now. As far as Rosewood though, you see we got 51 completed, 21 are under construction, and 6 additional ones under review. The ones that were on hold have moved to the under construction category, so that's why that jumped up. So they finished, for the most part, the park area, and that's what they were waiting on to then do those 6 that they had put on hold. So, but I drove by, I guess, a week ago, and they were framing it up, and they're moving pretty quick over there. So, and I did update Lytle Farms just based on some feedback I got from the utility contractor out there. That phase 1, they expect the construction of the roads and everything to be completed by April-May time frame instead of, I think originally I had on there last month, June-ish time frame. So a little bit earlier, they're moving pretty fast. So that's the update on our residential development. You see here just the permits received, or the applications received, I'm sorry, and then permits issued. Pretty normal stuff for the month, nothing super big there. Inspections, same, we're kind of in line with what we're seeing month to month. As far as COs and certificate of compliance, you see the certificate of compliance over there, 7 for the different ones. Chief touched on in his report last meeting the Texarkana Boutique, their CO that they issued, and of course this is for February, so that's why it's a little behind. And then certificate of occupancy is 11 residential, and then our portion of the CO for Texarkana Boutique. And that is, I guess, for, as they're calling it, phase 1 of there'll be more additional things that they're going to be doing and cleaning up over there. So. As far as court, so you'll see the updated numbers for the month on the side. The one thing I wanted to add, because again, as it's not a very good telling of the story when you see 17 and 19 disposed of citations and violations, but again, those numbers are for what was taken in February and what was disposed in February. So what I did is ask them to run some additional reporting, and you'll see there in red at the bottom, the total transactions for February was about 231 transactions. So that would be including anything else from prior months or closing out of various cases. So gives a little bit better picture of what's actually happening, that they're not just sitting over there doing nothing, for 17 people. So wanted to make sure that was highlighted. And then Judge and I are still finalizing the associate judge contract, and in speaking with somebody that I think will be moving into that role for us. So we'll have that probably on the next agenda maybe for you to talk about. As far as contracts, real no update here. Still dealing with CPS and AT&T really are the two big issues out there. AT&T, we're again, I want to reiterate, we're not paying as far as that's concerned, and they are trying to finalize everything. We've been getting, despite the efforts of Frontera and the group that is helping close out those accounts with the AT&T reps, they are sending collection notices still, even though that group has told them stop sending collection notices. So left doesn't talk to the right hand, so unfortunately, and as we've seen. So, but again, we're not paying that, and we're just trying to finalize that out. And that's pretty much it on the contract side. As far as meetings on the left, and then just wanted to highlight some of the additional projects that we got going on. Some of them y'all obviously are aware of. But Master Drainage Plan, have spoken with Kinley Horn now that we have that contract in place. And as you recall, as a part of the Stormwater Utility Fund, the big push by council was to actually do a Master Drainage Plan. And so I've had an initial meeting with them. And they're looking to have another meeting here in the next couple weeks with some key players as a part of that, as we kind of figure out that true scope of what that's going to look like, and as they move into that. Emergency interconnection with East Medina. We just had a meeting this past week actually out there. I've re-engaged that conversation with one of our new engineers of Cobb Finley for that project. And so I think we have a pretty good path forward of where that is. And if you recall, that's going to be right there by our booster station, as East Medina has an existing line that runs in front of there. As Lynette mentioned, actively working on the wastewater rate study with NewGen, and they're going on that. I've also asked Cobb Finley to look at updating our capital improvement plan, as that was, we're at that mark of a few years into it now, and we need to update that. And it's something that I wasn't getting a lot of traction with another engineer that was a part of that. So, trying to get the Cobb Finley involved in that. Just wanted to highlight that, we do have a couple open violations still with TCEQ, mostly on our monitoring and just some sampling that needed to be taking place. Pete, myself, and Austin had a meeting in this last week with a representative that through their FMT, which is financial and management kind of help that comes down. Since we've had a huge transition, obviously, and within Public Works, they offer assistance to come down and help and sit down and really get a handle on what kind of reports are due every month, quarterly, and yearly, and making sure that we're keeping track with that and getting us caught up and clearing out these violations that have been open for a while. So big help, and I'm sure there'll be some more stuff that comes out of that, but just wanted to let y'all know, and that's been going on kind of behind the scenes, that we've had that. And then as you see, obviously we awarded the contract for the Well 3. We'll get started on that. And then the sidewalk project as a part of the 12-inch line as well, all that going on. The only other thing I wanted to just note, I know there's been a couple things that have come through from various residents on generally our fire hydrants and things like that. I just wanted to reiterate that we are in a drought, so we typically do not flush the fire hydrants during that drought, and wanted to make sure that that's something that kind of ceases during that time. We've identified some issues around town, nothing that can't be fixed, but we're slowly going through those, and Pete has a plan in place as a part of the checklist that they're doing to make sure we're reiterating and going around and checking some of those things. So as we talked about, it's a work in progress, all the changes that have happened in Public Works, but just to make sure that everything's operating appropriately, we're building those things in. So I just wanted to let y'all know on that front. As far as human resources are concerned, we have the library clerk. She actually started today, which is great. Our new full-time Virginia Rural. We have the Public Works foreman that we're still kind of looking for there, in addition to what we already have on staff. Park maintenance, Wayne's last day with the city is going to be April 30th, and so that job has been posted, and we are actively searching for someone to fill that position, hopefully in enough time before, so there's some kind of transition period there. And then code compliance officer, obviously we talked about tonight. So and that's pretty much, other than what we already discussed last month on kind of our open positions and everything going on. So that's all I got.
Wayne is retiring?
Wayne is retiring. Yes, he's not. It is official. It is officially a retirement. He submitted his paperwork. So Wayne is retiring. And as we discussed previously, we did add some additional things to the job description that went out. So that'll be a part of that job going forward. And so we'll look to get someone in that can do all those things.
Yeah. Well, please make sure that we take care of them for the retirement purpose. Okay, let us know.
Yes, sir.
That'll be good.
Will do.
That'll be good. Okay. Anything for Zach? Any questions? Anything? Okay. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to item number 11. This is informational items, and we will go around the room. Paula?
No, sir.
Richie, anything you need to share? Nothing at all?
Okay, well, we swore the one guy in, Barrera in last week, and we're swearing in Sequoia on
The
a
second,
week from Wednesday.
the 2nd of April, right? Yep. So it'll be good.
Yep.
Bring in the new folks. That's really good. Nice little event too. Appreciate that, Richie. That worked out. Matt, anything? Nothing at all. Okay. Thanks for helping out, getting that word with Kent's 5 too. Appreciate that. Back. Anything? Austin.
Now, you're talking about the house on Kings Park?
Yes.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say that, yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I communicate with the people that live across the street from the people that their house burned down in Comine. And, I've, what do you call it? We go back and forth on the phone, with, the guy named David, I think.
Yes.
Ernest. And, so we never can get a hold of each other, but I get a hold of the lady that lives across the street. So she says they're doing okay. She just gives me updates, and she did say that Ken's 5 went by yesterday. Or was it today? Yesterday, right? So that's all I have.
Yep. And they have a GoFundMe. Right?
And they do have a GoFundMe account. You want to look me up or the mayor up, we can send you that.
Yeah, we have it out there. We send it out and shared it too.
It's on
So it's out
Facebook.
there in different places.
Yeah.
It'll do that. Anything else?
You want an update on theater?
Yes, please.
The high school UIL one-act play competition was last week, and out of 6 schools, they placed first and advanced. Their play is Elephant Man, if you're familiar with the movie that came out a number of years ago. They get it down to 40 minutes, which is amazing. But they did well. They're advancing. They'll be back in Hondo for competition at the next level this Wednesday. So stand by for news.
Yeah, I think it's by district, and I think
by district.
I think one of our individuals got highlighted as the best.
Yes, Gigi, who was she's the Elephant Man. She's really good. Last year, she was the lead in the play The Monster Calls, and she got outstanding actor in every level of competition that we went to. And then this year, again, she's a senior this year. The very first competition, she got one of 2 awarded outstanding actor. So she's just really amazing.
Yep.
Really, really amazing. And we have a good cast, good people. Our director is amazing, Randy Nelson.
Yep.
And she's really, really good with the kids. So we're looking forward to good things.
Yep.
So this Wednesday at Hondo, I just got the schedule. Our kids will be the last ones competing this time at 6 o'clock Wednesday night.
It's Wednesday. Okay.
My wife did that one 25 years ago. The Bible.
Yeah.
Elephant Man?
Yeah.
Really? Hey, cool.
25, 26, 27 years ago. Yeah, they went state too. They went all the way.
Oh, well, it's going to be great, and I think it's by district over in Hondo.
It's by district, yes.
Competition, so that's awesome. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate that. Okay, a few things I want to pass on. First of all, many thanks to Lytle Fire, Lytle PD for the response over at Quada Street. I think it was a great way to be able to not only take care of the situation, but also be able to respond to the family and do what we needed to do. Richard, I want to say thank you for being there. Appreciate you being on the scene already and trying to help out the family and trying to figure things out. So there's still going to be a little bit more things that need to happen for the family. Please keep them in your prayers. Because they'll need the support as they actually go through all that too. Do also, along with that, I do want to thank all the other fire departments that responded to assist. Matt and Richie, I think we had Natalia, we had Bear District 5, we had Roseville, right? That was there.
Medina County ESD.
Medina County ESD 1 was also there. So we had good representation, people that actually showed up and be able to help out. So many thanks. I want to personally thank them on behalf of the city too for being there. I want to say special thanks and all the time and effort by the city administrator, city secretary, public works, parks, police department staff for the music festival. Thanks to all the vendors, the VFW, the chamber, and many others. And also thanks for Jamie and Chuck. I think it was a good event. It worked out good. Got a little chilly there for a little bit. The wind picked up. And I think I ended up both days having dirt all over. We had a little dirt flying in different places. I don't know, Miguel, how did it seem from your area over there? It seemed good?
Yeah, it was nice.
Look good? Yeah, I think they did good. And there's a few other things that we probably be making some adjustments on. We'll bring you up to speed at a later point with that, but just want to say thanks to everybody. A lot of folks walked away, and we really did have a family that came from Oklahoma. They came down because they had heard about it last year, and so they decided to travel down and join us for that, and that was pretty cool, being able to talk to that. It worked out really good. Do want to say thanks to Lynette, Ronnie, Zach, and Paola also with the audit prep. There was a lot of work to be able to do that. And I know that there's going to be some adjustments and things that we need to do in the near future, and just so we can go ahead and get ourselves in a better position. The good thing is now we are right on time. We're right on track. This is where we're supposed to be, and that's going to help us tremendously instead of trying to play catch up all the time. So appreciate all your efforts being able to do that. Want to say thanks to Public Works for continuing. I know they're not here, a little bit under the weather, but if you notice, we're down to the last two, and one of them we're not going to touch until we actually go ahead and reconnect the 132, just so we don't bring the water down. Just to fix that particular situation, we'll do it at the same time so we minimize taking the water down. So that's going to be pretty cool. So thanks to them. Also want to say thanks to Public Works and Paula. Appreciate with the food market that happened. I know you were helping Gracie and everybody else. We got some good comments that went a long way with that. So we really appreciate that. Reminder for council and everybody, we got a public hearing and a special meeting this Wednesday, 26 March at 6:30, normal time. So if you guys can be here, it should not take that long. Should be a quick one, but we do need to meet so we can take care of a few things on that day. This Saturday is our Little League kickoff day, so 29th of March. So be out there, I think 9 o'clock, something like that. So I think it'll be a good time to be out there. They said they're going to have vendors, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. They're going to have some activities out there, so I think it's going to work out really good. And also a reminder, because people are asking and everything, but please let folks know the 3rd of May, the city cleanup. So for the staff, let's go ahead and try to see if we can reach out to the schools and try to take care of them, or try to get them involved so they can help us with some of the street cleanup stuff that we need to do.
And we might have that church group potentially doing that as well. So.
Please do. I know they wanted to do something in April, but see.
But I told them about this too, and they were looking to see if they could expend some people to do that.
Let's make sure we have all the supplies and everything that we need for that. Okay, so we can go ahead and take care of that. Yeah. Okay, with that in mind, let's see. We got birthdays. The 9th of April is April's birthday. Yeah, 9th April, that's unique, huh? Be able to do that. Our judge, birthday on the 10th of April. And then we have over at PD, Roger. Roger has his birthday on the 15th, so he's a tax baby. I didn't realize that, so he's a tax baby that goes along with that. You know, with the IRS.
He's a tax man.
Yeah, I know, he's a tax man.
And I have a hip surgery on April the 8th.
You got hip surgery on April the 8th?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How long are you going to be out?
About a year.
About a year.
No wonder.
Hey, look, he's asking now for approval. So.
Yeah, well, he's actually, that's why he was asking about being able to log in, right? Be able to do something like that, and it goes along with that. Okay, with that in mind, but there's one other one, because the next time we meet is going to we're gonna have one, the next regular meeting is gonna be after the fact. So we got somebody's birthday on the 12th. And I know that's far away, but we won't meet until the 14th. So, Zach, we do it now.
Oh, Mr.
That'll be good. Zach's birthday, he's turning 25.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Zach. Happy birthday to you.
Balanced budget. He's already looking forward to May. We do the budget meeting. Okay, any last minute? Anything at all? We took care of lots of stuff tonight. That was a good meeting, very good meeting. It is 9:20 p.m. Can I get a motion for us to go ahead and...
Yeah, I make the motion we adjourn right now.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
I second that too.
Second, okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great evening. Thank you. Paula, thank you for the food.